All right, in this video, I'm going to deploy a live application to Google Cloud using Cloud Run. I'm going to use a brand new project completely from scratch. I think tutorials are often better that way because then you see kind of some of the setup and admin that you actually have to do in the real world. And by the end of it, we're going to have a live public URL. You'll see how convenient it is often to use Cloud Run as a result. So first we need to create a GCP project. So I'm at console.cloud.google.com. I'm going to create a new project and I'm going to call this Cloud Run Demo. Somebody else has probably created a project with the same name. So the ID has some numbers added to it, and this cannot be changed later. And then there's also the project name can be changed later, but the project ID is assigned at project creation and it cannot be changed later. And then there is the project number, which is created kind of behind the scenes by Google, and you don't have a choice in what that is, and it also cannot be changed. Okay, we don't want it in an organization. This is just for demo purposes. And we are going to let this project get created, and then we are going to switch to that project. And we are going to do a couple of admin things first. First, we need to enable the Cloud Run API. So we're going to go to APIs and services, and we're going to go down to see if Cloud Run is here. It is not. And so we are going to enable Cloud Run. Cloud Run Admin API is actually what it's called. And then we are also going to have to enable the Cloud Build API, because that's going to actually build the container that we use for our app. So Cloud Build, enable. And then there are a few permissions that we're going to have to grant in IAM as well. So let's go to IAM. And here you can see my account that I'm using. I'm the owner of this project. And then this is the default compute service account. So this is by default the service account that is used for a lot of services, including what will be used for Cloud Run unless we set up our own service account. But we're not going to do that for this demo. But we need to give this service account some more permissions than what it has currently, even though it has editor, which is actually a pretty big role. All right, so we need to give it storage object admin, artifact registry writer, and logging writer. And without these, you will get this permission denied error, and you won't be able to deploy the app. So, in the real world, oftentimes the way this works is you try to deploy the application and you get this permissions denied error, and then you realize as a result of that you need to add permissions. I have already figured that out, and so I'm doing this up front. But I'm showing you because this is the kind of thing that I think you will come across in the real world, and if you don't have it in the tutorial, then you'll try it on your own, and you'll wonder, why it wasn't included. Okay, so we're going to add storage object admin. And we are going to add artifact registry writer. So it needs to be able to write to artifact registry, which is where the container is going to be stored. And then logging writer. So it needs to be able to, I guess it's logs writer actually. Yeah, there we go. it needs to be able to write to logs. And so this, I was just mentioning earlier, the project number. This number in the service account name is the project number. So that was created on creation of the project. And so you'll see that come up if you keep using, this project. You'll see, we would see that number come up in multiple places, but it's what's used to create the identity of the service account as well. All right, so now we can see in IAM, we have our Compute Engine service account, or our default compute service account, with not just the editor role, but these other roles that we needed to have as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open Cloud Shell. And basically at any point, you can open Cloud Shell by clicking here in the upper right-hand corner. And we are going to actually open this in a new window. If you're doing this for the first time, it'll take a minute to load. We're going to open this in a new window, and we are going to open an editor, because there are a few files here that we're going to use for our application. So we've got the application file, the Flask app itself. This is a simple Flask app. It's got one route. It returns a message, hello from Cloud Run. That's it. In the Docker file, we're using a slim Python image. We want to keep the container small. We're not building a big complicated app. We copy the requirements from the requirements.txt file. We'll look at that in a second. And we also include this, which basically says it's a layer caching trick, and so it rebuilds faster when only your application code changes and nothing else. And then everything else we copy, and we run the gUnicorn server on port 8080. And when we go back to the requirements.txt file, these are the two libraries that we're importing with specific versions. Okay, so now 3 files, we are good to go. I have them in a directory called Cloud Run Demo. And for your information, this Cloud Shell instance actually stays with you regardless of the project that you're using. So I have already configured it to run in the project that we just created, as you can see here in the yellow. You may need to specify the project by running a gcloud command to specify the project, and that would be gcloud config set project and then the project ID. So for me, that is Cloud Run Demo 486.917. It's already set to that. What is this? Oh, I did the ID wrong. Okay. I forgot this dash. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to deploy this app just from the command line, from here, using a gcloud command. So we're going to do gcloud run deploy hello world service. The source is going to be the directory that we're currently in. So you do have to make sure that you're in the Cloud Run Demo directory, or whatever directory you're using to store your files, your app file, your Docker file, and your requirements file. But the period just means that we're going to stay in the directory that we're currently in. And we're going to specify the region for our service to be deployed, which in my case, I'm just going to say US Central 1. That's not where I live, but it is, it's kind of the standard region in the United States. and we're going to allow unauthenticated. So hello world service is our service name. Source just builds the container from our directory. It's going to use Cloud Build for that. And so because of that, we don't need Docker locally. And then the region is where it runs, as I said, and then allow unauthenticated just makes it public, the app public. So, you know, if this were still up and running, I'm going to delete this after the tutorial, but if it's still up and running, you would be able to access it from your own browser. Okay, so we are going to run this and see what happens. It's going to ask me if I want to continue. That's because it needs to set up a repository to store the built containers. It's going to set up this repository called Cloud Run Source Deploy. And it's going to be in US Central Run. Yes, this is what we want. So it's going to take us through all the build steps. And sometimes this takes a while, sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends. Well, Cloud Build actually is reading our Docker file. That's pulling the Python image. It's installing dependencies. It's building the container. That's what it's doing right now. And then it's going to push to artifact registry. And so actually we can look at the logs here while it's doing this. And this is Cloud Build. So sometimes you have many build steps. We just have one. So it's not very complicated, but you can actually see, you know, what's happening. And so it was successful, which is great. And so this should actually, so the build was successful, and now it's actually going to be deploying the service. Cloud Run deploys the service, all from that one command. So the first deployment is usually the slowest. And then after this, subsequent deployments are usually faster because of that caching that we put in. Okay, so it's done. The service should be live, and it should have 100% of all the traffic going to it. This is the URL. We can just click this, and here we go. Hello from Cloud Run. So again, I mean, this is an app that's available on the public internet. You can, you could access it yourself. But again, I'm going to be getting rid of it after this tutorial. So it's live in the browser, a real application on Google's infrastructure. It's got a TLS certificate. It's accessible worldwide from a brand new project in, less than 15 minutes. So, I mean, that is why a lot of people are flocking to GCP and Cloud Run. One of the reasons why a lot of people are flocking to GCP and Cloud Run. So let me kind of show you in Cloud Run in the console what you would see. We're going to close this. So this is our service that we deployed a minute ago. You can see the region that it's in. Yeah, so here we go. So we can see the request count. We can see the latency, several graphs about the latency, how many container instances are being used, because Cloud Run auto scales, although you can control that a bit. So you can set a maximum number of instances or a minimum number of instances. Memory utilization. So, if you had a large app with lots of traffic, these would be useful. We just deployed it and no one's going to be using this app. So these graphs are not very informative for us. But you could also actually, if you look here, you can see there's a column in the revisions tab, which has the percentage of traffic that is being sent to the latest revision. If we deployed a new version, we could actually set the traffic to be split between versions. Maybe we want to test out a new version of the app with like 10% of our traffic. We could do that. But for now, we are only doing 100% of our traffic to to the single service or the version that we deployed. And so that's called a canary deployment. And then if we go to the logs, observability, yes. If we go to the logs here. So, again, these could also be very informative depending on the kind of application you have and how big it is. So the app is deployed. I just kind of want to share a few things that will actually help you if you're learning GCP or if you're studying for a certification. Cloud Run is probably one of the first services that you should learn on Google Cloud, depending on your role, but it really is just like bread and butter, fully managed serverless GCP. So for GCP certifications, Cloud Run shows up on several of them. It's on the Associate Cloud Engineer certification, the Professional Cloud Architect certification, definitely the Professional Developer certification, even the Professional Data Engineer certification, because there are some workflows where, Cloud Run could do some data processing. So it's a very popular service on GCP, and it's something that's really good to know if you're going to be using GCP. We are done with this demo. I hope that was helpful, and subscribe for more.